should you declare every earning you make as a man?
The ideal, unfortunately, Brian, is yes. That unfortunately, or is it fortunately?
I can hear so many no's right
Yeah,
now. No.
Trust everything that the woman does is not independent of the man. It's for and on behalf of the man. If you have that understanding, if my wife is bringing in the money, she's doing on my behalf.
Welcome to the Waluversity Podcast with Dr. Walubita Siyanga.
Dr. Walu, again, I'm back.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate
Thank you for having me. And today's book is very interesting. The title, like many others, are The Financial Abuse, Red Flags in Marriage and Relationships.
Yes.
Interesting. Because I think many people can relate.
Yeah.
There was a time when, this is, I think, it has now become an annual discussion. The number of divorce cases always high, off the roof.
Yes.
And one of the issues that many experts, many who care to interrogate, the reason for this occurrence, one issue that comes out is that the disagreements, the arguments, border on finances.
Yes. We have talked about physical abuse. We have talked about many types of abuse, but rarely do we talk about a conversation to do with financial abuse. And I think for me, that was the prompt to write a book around it so that we can raise awareness, especially not just for those that are already married, but more so for those that are about to get into marriage. You need to understand what the red flags are when you're dating with someone and to know how to navigate them or to talk about them so that you are not abused financially in your marriage or relationship.
So I am tempted to take it for granted that everybody understands. Yeah. But I will try by all means to avoid that temptation. Yeah. So when you talk about financial abuse, what does this entail?
Abuse at the end of the day is abuse.
Okay.
It has the same impact psychologically and emotionally, whether it is physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse. The victims of that normally exhibit the same traits. And so you find that if somebody has gone through maybe physical abuse, the same effects they will suffer, they're very similar to the effects that somebody who has gone through financial abuse will suffer at the end of the day. So they all go into one kind of issue at the end of the day, borders on the same thing. And so, like I said, this is one aspect that people don't want to unearth and talk about, but it exists. And there are people that are being abused in relationships. There are people that are being abused in marriages financially, and they don't even know it.
Yeah. So there's a perpetrator,
yes,
and there is a victim as well.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I think it's grave when it's the man that's being financially abused. It's quite impactful on both ends. Really, it's neither here nor there. But I think when the person who is the earner sometimes can suffer a certain way, especially if you're the one who's bringing the incomes.
I'm going to combine my next question with what I've just seen here. This is chapter 5, and the heading there is forced to hand over your hard-earned money.
There we go.
And this now sits very well with my next question, because in a home, many homes in Zambia, you will find that and this rides on the saying that a man's money is everyone's money, a woman's money is her money. Does that also reflect abuse, financial abuse, as the man being the victim?
Let me actually hit the nail on the head and say it straight. To be made to surrender your earnings to your partner is abuse. Where you're not giving them a choice, but you're just forcing them to surrender. What you're referring to, the conversation that, when a man brings in the money, it's our money. When she brings in the money, it's her money. Depending on the level of your financial astuteness, that can also be abuse. And this is what I mean. A couple that is just starting out in a marriage, for example, and they don't have too many resources. So if I make the little money that I make and I want you to contribute because I'm not managing very well, and then you decide that no, my money is my money, you manage everything, you pay the rent, you buy the food, you do everything. Sometimes maybe you're even earning more than me. But you choose to say, me as a wife, I'm not going to surrender my amounts or my monies, and we need to manage everything within your money. That is why men die early, because women don't understand the kind of stress that comes with trying to fit in all of those income and expenses in one little income. And where you are a one income couple, when you are two people that are earning, you are abusing your husband, and eventually you are cutting short his life, because then he will start having blood pressure, then he'll start having these non-communicable diseases, and you contributed because you're putting too much stress on him. On top of that, then you're telling him, even us, let's buy. Look at the kind of TV they even us, let's buy, putting pressure. And that can be abuse, and it's not correct.
So then it's safe to say that most men are abused financially.
Well,
this is going to be a very unpopular
but
podcast episode among many folk.
Depending on the level,
Yeah.
because for me, look, at my level, Brian,
Yeah.
I'm making good monies. So I'm not interested in touching my wife's money. My level is different. So that's why I say depending on how much money you have, because also if I'm making a lot of money, the reverse is also abuse. If I'm making a lot of money, then I want to touch my wife's money. That's unfair.
But you see, again, the issue is that there's some men who are very they love their ego, and again, this perception is motivated by the fact that more often than not, when men rely on the income of the woman, it's almost like the man is surrendering the authority to the woman. That's the fear of some sections.
Okay, so let's put it in context here. For a normal married couple, all of the money that comes in as income should be our money, not her money or his money. It should come into a pool where you put it together, maybe not physically, but on paper. You should be able to say, okay, wife, what has been your income this month? Okay, this is the amount. Husband, what has been your income this month? This is the amount. We are totaling it, we are putting it together, and then we are going to expense it from that. Now, that is the ideal picture. But I find that a lot of people run away from that ideal picture. They want to have all sorts of other financial arrangements away from that ideal picture. And that is where the abuse sometimes kicks in most of the time.
So what do you do if it's your husband who wants to be abused? And by this I mean, if if I was to speak at the men's conference, I would say this, that men, run your homes, take full charge. And by this I mean, let her play with her money, provide accommodation, provide for her hair, provide for the food, provide for the kids. Because sometimes the other gender is a problem, Doc.
True.
They'll grow big-headed, and tomorrow you tell them, you ask them, why are you coming home at midnight? Then they say, why are you asking me? Then you go on to say, listen, you can't come home, you can't come to my house at midnight. Then the woman says, wait a minute, it's our home because I also contribute when it comes to rent,
I hear you. But you see, the dynamics of marriage, again, Brian, the dynamics of marriage require oneness. And a lot of people, it's the two shall be one except financially. I don't know why we have a problem there. But it requires one. And I always give these concepts when I'm talking about love and relationships. Think of these analogies. The Bible gives an analogy of the man being the head. Some people say, no, the woman is the neck. I always say the woman is the rest of the body. That's why the picture there in Ephesians is Christ is the head of the church and there's a body of Christ. So in the same way, man is the head and then you have the body, which is a woman. And so when you look at that analogy, the body will not act independent of the head. Eyes are in the head, ears are in the head, the mouth is in the head. And so eyes represent vision. The man is able to see the future and give guidance to the rest of the body to move. Ears, the man should be able to listen. Mouth should be able to have the final word all the time. The man must have the final word because he's the mouthpiece in the head. And the rest of the body moves accordingly. Another example that I want people to understand is the way governments are set up. You have a president. A man is like the president, the way you have a head of state. I agree that a man should take charge.
Yeah.
But it must be understood that everything that the woman does is on behalf of the man. Everything that the woman does is not independent of the man. It's for and on behalf of the man. If you have that understanding, if my wife is bringing in the money, she's doing on my behalf. If we're going to spend a particular way, it must be understood. So she can't have an independent spirit where she says, no, it's my house. It's not your house. It's our house, and I'm the head.
Chapter 10 talks about refusal to contribute.
Again, that is abuse. Sometimes, and I don't care what the reason is.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in a relationship with someone in a marriage and you are refusing to contribute, you have the income, but you are refusing. You're seeing things go wrong, but you are withholding money. You are abusing your partner. Literally, there's no other way of calling it. It's abuse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then why are we together in the first place? Why are we? Why are you allowing me to struggle alone? There are men, Brian, that do this. There are women that do this. She has the money. And in the name of, because one time I had a conversation with one company that recruited me to do their financial relationship thingies. We're talking about financial management. And in that meeting, one woman, we took on a debate because she kept saying, no, sir, Stumo, it's important for a woman to keep her own money secretly away from the husband because some of these men, we don't feel very secure, and that was a whole conversation. So I addressed it and I said, look, address the issue of insecurity because at the end of the day, you can't conceal money from your partner and you're allowing them to hustle on their own. Meantime, you have money that you have locked up somewhere and things are going wrong. Then what you have is not a marriage, it's something else.
Should you declare every earning you make as a man?
The ideal, unfortunately, Brian, is yes. That unfortunately, or is it fortunately?
I can hear so many no's right
yeah,
now. No.
Trust me, and I'll tell you why there are a lot of no's.
Yeah.
It's because we deal with imperfect people. I'll give you an example. What do you do when you have a husband who is careless with money? And every time you declare everything, they've literally finished the money they wrote. What do you do if you have a wife who is a spendthrift? Yeah. The temptation is to want to hide some of these monies and you convince yourself that you are hiding for a good cause or a good reason. And that's, so I know someone may want to argue, but I don't want to run away from the ideal. The standard is it's important to declare everything. Yeah. And then grapple with our financial or money relationship styles so that at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, one of the advice I always give couples when they come for counseling, I ask them one question. I ask them, who's the responsible one between the two of you? The other one will say, no, it's my husband. The other one will say, no, it's my wife. And I'm talking about financial responsibility. So I tell them to say, look, the fact that your partner is more responsible financially than you is an asset to the marriage. Don't look at it as a negative. It's an asset because in the long run, it will help you to preserve and grow resources. So the temptation sometimes is because maybe your partner is that asset, sometimes we don't want to use that and we want to run away from that. It's important to acknowledge and utilize that. Yeah. So we can't run away from the ideal.
See, the other gender, Doc, behaves in the following fashion. Mm-hmm. Look, everything else was okay. All right? The moment you declare your extra income, hey, we need to replace the kittens.
But what if you have a rule that extra incomes must, yes, they'll be declared, but they must have the different rules of engagement? What if you decide that in advance? To say, if I make extra income, it means this.
And what happens is you can agree on that,
But they come and
but
change.
the change and you see, they can be manipulative, just like the kids thrive. you know, you make that true. You have you declare the extra income, and you say, listen, this is what I've made from my hustle, and remember, we have got an agreement. We spend this money in this fashion. Then she brings up a different view. Look, the kittens need to be replaced. We're having visitors in the next 2 weeks. And that becomes a trend. Every time there's an income, there's an expense
She
which
creates a
which
budget
makes
for it.
sense. And if you deny her, picture no sound, and you don't want to have that kind of home.
Yeah,
as a
so
man.
then you end up conciliating.
Yeah.
So I look at it this way, Brian. Again, I know I'm going to sound repetitive, but this is what I will say. Probably let me ask you this question. I know you're the one asking the questions, but think with me here.
Yeah.
Would she act the same if there were abundant resources? If money was not a problem, or if there's surplus monies, would she act that way? And I'm asking that deliberately because depending on the level of your incomes, the behavior may be warranted. Because if we don't have too much money and you have side hustle money and there are real needs, I think the prudent thing is to surrender the side hustle money for the real needs. But in a situation where there's enough money, and I do side hustle money, I bring in side hustle money, but you still want my side hustle money, and there's still enough money for other things, again, you're abusing me. So I think it depends on your levels of income.
All right.
As a couple.
Yeah.
When you don't have too much, I think the side hustle money also must be surrendered for what is important.
Okay.
Is that a fair answer?
Listen, I've got two more follow-up questions, but let's leave it there for now.
Okay.
But it makes sense because again, you see, money that is not declared usually. What my observation is that, and I want to confine this to the men folk.
Yeah.
The money that men folk make, which they don't declare, from the side hustle, usually just is spent for playing.
It's not spent well.
No, it's not. It's not. It's impulse buying.
Yeah.
Buying new clothes.
Yeah.
Going out with the boys
Yeah.
and things of that sort.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you realize that the side hustle that you did not declare, I mean, whose fruits you didn't declare, gave you enough money that's going to give you proper investments.
Exactly. So we are in agreement.
Yeah. On
I
that
like
score,
that.
On that score. But I know that many men folk have a different opinion. But I think that you put it very well when you said it depends with
The levels of your income.
the levels of your
Yeah,
income.
because if you're doing well,
Yeah. But for me, that's why people need to read this book, because the insights here are very interesting. Let's talk about financial imbalance. What are you talking about in chapter 7 here?
Again, monies and finances, there's a way you need to ensure that, the whole aspect of needs and wants. It's important to, and I think this is basic knowledge, you can't start dealing with wants or putting money in wants and having the needs suffer. So it's very, very important to, I think in that chapter, I introduced the concept of financial prudence. And it's important for us to be very prudent. And by prudence, I mean ensure that money goes where it's supposed to go, and ensure that you're doing the right things with the money so that you have the right results. For example, if you're going to have rent money and then you want to use it for other things, that brings a lot of challenges. You want to buy a car, or you want to buy a luxury item and you haven't paid school fees for the children, again, all of those things must be avoided. So it's important to balance, ensure that your wants your needs are in place before you begin to go for the wants, and you don't really lose anything. And we're not trying to impress anybody here.
Yeah. Chapter 4, Doc. Stealing from your partner.
To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
Brian, I know this is one area that some people would want to talk about if they could, but it's one of those silent issues in marriages. There are husbands that steal from their wives. There are wives that steal from their husbands. Literally. And it comes in many forms. A husband sends the wife on an errand, go do this for the family, do this, do this. I have counseled people where the woman brings fake receipts and she pockets the money. Now, what we must understand, it's not even the amount here. We're not talking about stealing big monies. Trust me, the betrayal you will feel from your wife stealing 100 kwacha is the same betrayal you will feel from your wife stealing a 15,000 kwacha. Same betrayal. So it's not the amount of money. It's the fact that you are my wife or I'm your husband, but we are doing like this for each other. You know, money was here. Where is it? I don't know.
Or you left some money in the trousers.
And it's...
After the laundry, you can't find it.
and again, they say that's how you know an honest wife or an honest husband.
Yeah.
Because if you have that kind of woman who says, you know, oh, in your jacket, I found a 3,000 kwacha. I've put it on the table. Hey, you are blessed. But if you have that one that says zonse zeniza pesa powasha nizanga, you know, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
You are in trouble. So this is a real issue. And it's a real issue because the same, and by the way, Brian, the same betrayal you feel when someone has cheated on you sexually is the same betrayal you feel when somebody has lied to you and stolen from you. It's the same impact. It erodes trust. Yeah. Because if you can lie to me about those kind of things money-wise, you easily lie to me about issues of who were you with. We say, okay, if she can't tell you, what she was eating during lunch, she will not tell you who she was eating that lunch with. Yeah.
Wow. Listen, there are 12 chapters here, and all of them very interesting. But let me get to the last one, because we're pressed for time. I'm trying to see which one I should pick. They're all looking interesting. Restricted access to bank accounts.
That's another one.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's
So
another
it's a
one.
big issue as well?
It is. Again, it's a game where partners will not declare the money that they have in the bank account.
Even the password. And I just wonder, on this one, I agree with you. I know some gents who really will keep the first of all, the bank account, the password themselves. What happens if you die?
Or even the PIN to the Visa card.
Yeah. What happens if you die?
Yeah. No, they don't think that way, unfortunately. And it's very, very sad.
Yeah.
They need therapy, those kind of couples. If you are in a relationship and a marriage like that, I think it's eroded and you need help. It's a real issue, Brian. And again, it stems on a lot of mistrust. It borders on a lot of... Because look, if I have money that my wife totally has no idea about, you know what that means? It means I have discretionary funds to use how I will. It means it's easy for me. I'll give you a scenario. I always say, if a woman comes to me and says, oh, you know what, no, give me money for nails, you know what I will do? I will just say, you know what, let me consult my wife right now if I can give you money for nails, because my wife, in fact, this is what I've done. You know those mobile apps, eh? Yeah. I can be spending money from my Airtel money, but the reflection on how I'm spending is on her phone. Yeah. I have that system where my bank account, my Visa card, I can be spending, and on her phone, it will reflect how much money has come out. So at the end of the day, when I go home, I'll be asked, you withdrew a 3,000 kwacha. What was it for? You withdrew it too. But imagine if there's no system like that and you're able to have this. What kind of naughtiness are you going to have? Mamuna, Wampa Sandarama, that discretion, and the wife has no idea. Yeah. You are causing a problem. That is a problem that is already happening before it even happens. Yeah. So it's dangerous to live that way.
All right.
Especially if you're interested in keeping a marriage.
You know what? This is a very thought-provoking book.
It's raising a lot of dust.
It does. It does, you know. Because, I mean, just you and I chatting here. Yeah. Certain things you've said.
You can feel the heat.
How much have you withdrew 10,000 kwacha? Where did it go?
Yeah.
Now that's not the kind of questions men want to face, but they make very sense. Yeah. If you want, because you need something to confine you within a certain system. So, Doc, once again, congratulations on this book.
Thank you.
Financial Abuse, Red Flags in Marriages and Relationships. One of those 100 books plus that Dr. Walu has written. Please grab yourself a copy. Where can they get this?
My socials, go to Dr. Walubita Siyanga on Facebook, YouTube, Dr. Walubita Siyanga, TikTok. They'll find information there then they can ask through those platforms. They'll be given access to buy the book.
Yeah. So it's a book for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.